Hey, what's up? It's Fuel Your Life Friday. Let's go. You know, it's not often that I hit you with an episode like this, but the truth is, I learn a lot of really random stuff every single day. And even bigger truth, I freaking love it. But this week, when I was thinking about the Fuel Your Life Friday episode, I thought I would hit you with some randomness that I learned because, hey, you're going to learn a thing or five. Okay, so the first, I'm a little obsessed with Meat Eater on Netflix with Steven Rinella. Steven Rinella is a conservationist. He's a hunter and author and the host of Meat Eater. I probably learned dozens, seriously, of things each episode, mostly because, one, I'm not a hunter, nor am I an expert conservationist. Actually, let me just go ahead and put this out to the universe, though, that I would love to have Steven Rinella as a guest on the show. Straight up goals. But one thing in particular that I learned was Steve was in this episode and he was duck hunting in South Dakota. And he shared that when he was talking about the migratory waterfowls, which are duck, geese, cranes, you have to consider flyways. So just like we have highway interstates, the migratory waterfowl, for the most part, travel along 4 north and south running corridors. They're the Atlantic Flyway, the Mississippi, the Central, and the Pacific. Steve said that from a legal perspective, ducks are managed based on the corridors that they travel. He was in the Central Flyway, but was right on the corner of the Mississippi. So I had no idea that there was such thing as flyways and that states have to set regulations as well as federal regulations that work with the international treaties that the United States has with its northern and southern neighbors. All of the states and countries within that corridor, they work together to ensure that they're all on the same page with regulations. And that is one thing that I have seriously never consciously even thought about, especially when it comes to birds. So I am all the time learning from the show. Check it out on Netflix. It's called Meat Eater. Let me know what you think. The second, all right, well, since we're already talking about nature, let me flip the script and tell you how I learned that you can be allergic to the cold. Now, I was binge watching this show called The Boonies. It's a primitive show on National Geographic that follows people who live off the grid. And one woman expressed that she doesn't go outside that much in the wintertime because she's allergic to the cold. This condition is called cold urticaria. So she had a more severe version, which caused full body hives. And she said if it gets too bad, her throat can actually swell up, like it gets bad. Now, she uses natural remedies to control her symptoms, but others use Western medicine or even relocate due to it. The third random thing I learned was actually from my dear friend and mentor, Sherelle Turner. You guys know she keeps me learning, right? So she introduced me to a stone called moldavite. Moldavite is a natural glass that is thought to have formed in the heat of an asteroid impact. This event occurred about 15 million years ago, and the stone is primarily found in Czech Republic. With a little side note, Sherelle and I met in Czech Republic. Anyways, moldavite has an intense frequency and high vibration. In ancient times, it was thought to be this mystical stone that could bring good luck and fortune of wishes. So I'm getting a piece and I'll let you know my experience, but if you get some, let me know your experience as well. I do encourage that you research this more before you purchase due to its intensities. Now, the fourth thing I learned, I heard this little truth bomb from Lindsay Bryan Podvin, who is a podcast guest and she's a financial therapist. Now, what she said, now pay attention. She said that you need to be conscious of discounting compliments with the word but, such as, oh my gosh, this is such great work, but there's one little thing I'd change, or you look amazing, but maybe just change your shoes. Or we do it to ourselves all the time. I did amazing at saving this month, but next month I need to do better. Lindsay taught me to be a little bit more mindful when dishing compliments to others and self, and to make sure I'm not discounting them. The fifth and final thing, did you know that there are some people who have 2 different types of DNA? I actually learned this from my conversation this week with former ABC 2020 news producer Miguel Sancho. You will hear from him in a few weeks on our regular Wednesday episodes, but Miguel's son had an extremely rare disease and also carries different DNA in his blood than he has in his saliva. Like I said, you'll hear more about this soon, but I had no idea that this was even a possibility, and it blew my mind. I mean, I told you they were all going to be random, but here's the thing. Information doesn't always have to be delivered in a pretty little bow. I mean, it should still be packaged, but when we're growing, we're learning. And the more we know, the faster we grow. Reflect on some things that you learned this week, no matter how random they are. Value your wisdom. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and be sure to leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. Be sure to join us on Sunday for another life-changing story on our Awaken Your Soul Sunday series. But until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.